Welcome, coaches, to another wonderful episode of the IFCA Journal Podcast. I am your host, PJ Hedrington. I have the privilege during broad daylight to interview and to speak to one of my good friends in the profession. Also, personally, he's a great guy to me. I love him to death. He's awesome, and he's from Bishop Garrigan, Gona. Yes, Algona Catholic. He's the man, Marty Wadle. Okay. And again, he's a staple in our state. He's someone that's, oh my gosh, he's coached at Garrigan since 1992. However, he is a Dowling alum. He started out as a Dowling alum. He's even started his career on the freshman level at Dowling. Many of you, if you have any kind of ties to this part of Iowa, and you go to Dowling, then you know that a lot of those guys went to Simpson and coached under or played for the Hall of Fame legendary coach Jim Williams, who was an amazing offensive line coach. If you ever met anyone that was under his tutelage, they are truly special type people. He was a fabulous teacher and a fabulous man. And Marty graduated out of there at 1985. Again, he started his coaching career at Bishop Garrigan in 1992. He has 2 state titles. Okay. And I'll tell you why he's my favorite coach here after a minute. But he's got 2 state titles, 3 runners-ups. He was an all-state state coach of the year, district coach of the year, regional coach of the year. He's also on the IFCA board. He's been on the board since 2016. He's also a committee chairman. He gets a privilege and an honor to be the head coach of the Iowa Shrine Game this year, which is kind of cool. It's eye-opening for all of us. He's been married 32 years to his wonderful wife, 2 wonderful kids. He's also a boys track coach. My guy, my dude, Marty. What's up, man?
How you doing, PJ? Thank you so much. This is very humbling to do this, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And appreciate it, and appreciate the opportunity to talk about football with you. And hopefully, maybe somebody will listen in, and hopefully, I can give them a little something that might help them one way or the other.
Well, I'm excited for 2 things. One is, yes, we get to talk offensive line play at the 8-man level. No one ever really talks about it. Everybody just sees a lot of points scored and all those things, but no one really gets into the meat and potatoes of the offensive line play at the 8-man level. And the second thing is I get to talk to not only one of my favorite people, but you wear a tie on the sideline, and that makes me so proud. Like I was the guy that oh man, I love it. It brings back so many memories, and again, I thank you for rocking it. I love it.
I appreciate that, and I've been doing that since the first game I coached back in '92, and we'll continue to do that as long as I'm the head coach.
Yeah, that's good. Good. All right, let's get going. Kate, what's your coaching philosophy?
I try and incorporate as much about kids and as much about especially being a Bishop Garrigan, their faith life, their Catholicism, and Christianity. And my goal is to make, better young Catholic Christian young men through the game of football and use that as a platform and use this as a daily platform so they become better people. And then when they come back and we see them after they've graduated and become fathers and dads and business owners and businessmen and coaches like Matt Vitztum now up at South Dakota, that is really something good for us. And that's where the heart of our program is, and that's where the heart of my philosophy has always been, and where it's going to continue to be.
Good. That's good. Good philosophy there. What's your offensive line philosophy?
A lot of different things. I started coaching the offensive line, I think my second or third year here, and number one, physicality. Be relentless off the ball while playing very hard and very physical up front. Play harder longer than our opponent does, and by the time the fourth quarter gets around, and that we can establish or have established a physical run game and be able to run the ball and wear on the defense.
Okay. So great answer. Okay. But here's my question. All right. Because I'm thinking as an 8-man coach, and again, I coached 8-man moons ago at Adair Casey. Okay. How do I, as a young coach, get my offensive linemen to believe and entrench my philosophy at that level when there's so many points scored, where people see it all throwing the ball around and all the things? How do I get buy-in to sell my philosophy?
Yeah, that's a great question, PJ. I think you just have to, and we're at a little bit of advantage from coming from 11 player for 30 years of me coaching 11 player, and now still keeping a lot of that same philosophy that we had the
Mhm.
same techniques, but
Mhm.
you still win up front. You still have to run the football. Not
Yeah.
that you can't throw it. Yeah, absolutely. We
Right.
throw the football too.
Right.
We do a lot of play action off of that, bootleg series, stretch boots, things like that. Just, if you can see it with the kids and they get successful at it, then they really buy into it. And, we've
Right.
played some very physical games the last 3 years in 8 player, very physical games where
Right. Yeah.
people think if you score, you only give up 20 points to a team. It's about like 6 points in 11 player, and that's not too far off. Fortunate enough to have a really good defense and to have our defense do a very good job on that side of the ball, and our offense be able to be physical and be blessed with really good running backs and really good linemen up front.
Right. Good. 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 Okay. And again, I'm going to veer off of these questions. We're having fun, so this is good. All right. So as an 8-man coach, all right, and you're an offensive line guy, how are you? And again, you were sharing your philosophy with us, but how do I go in and I develop those young guys based on that? How do I develop them?
Well, it starts at the lower levels, obviously, junior high as much as you can. And we'll have kids that don't stay at that same position in junior high
Hmm.
and when they come to high school. But try and instill that philosophy at that point. And then at
Hmm.
our lower level, I mean, our JV guys, our freshmen, JJV, whatever we're playing, those kids are going through drills right with the varsity guys. They may not be going against
Right.
them, but they're going with those drills right with them
Right.
and watching the
Right.
older guys. And that's what we always tell our kids: watch the older guys do this drill. Learn from watching. Learn what they do. Learn what they do well. When they make a mistake, learn so you don't make the same mistake. But I think our older kids do a really good job of teaching that. We've instilled some real physical attitude with the kids we've had, and we've had players over the many years that have been very physical up front and take a lot of pride in what they do with the offensive line.
Okay, so what's your total like numbers for the offensive linemen in your school? Like, what do you have for varsity, JV, freshman? Like, what's your group size, your
For
position group?
to- for position group, PJ.
Yeah,
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 position
yeah,
group, we're probably about with tight ends because we are tight ends. We run a lot of double tight and some
yeah.
unbalanced front with tight ends. So we're probably 10 to 12, probably
Okay,
maybe 14, maybe a few more
okay,
than that at levels. Next year we'll
okay.
probably be somewhere in the vicinity of probably 12 to 14 with tight ends, turning maybe a couple more.
Right. Now, how do you build depth at that 8-man level on the offensive line? How are you building depth?
That's a great question. We're trying to get reps the best that we can with everybody. We'll do rotational. We'll go by what we're doing offensively as far as position goes or formation. If we're going to an unbalanced front or if we're going to a one tight end set or a two tight end set, try and rotate those guys in as much as we can without depleting the reps at the number ones. But
Mhm.
yet, if we know there's a possibility maybe our left guard's a two-way player and he's on the field a lot. That's probably the first lineman that's going to come in to get reps when that number one guy at left guard can step out. And then our center, obviously, that's a big thing with snaps. We run under and we run pistol. So a combination of both. And our number one or our starting center this year had a little softer touch on the ball, and then we'd bring in our number two or our backup center, and he also started nose guard. So when he zipped that thing, it was a little bit different, hitting the quarterback's hands. So a little
Right.
adjustment
Yeah.
in that, and then maybe we're going to go underneath. If that second center comes in the game, we're going to go underneath and worry about less where it's flying or where it might fly high or low, and go ahead and take that snap underneath and maybe run under center more.
Well, that's good. That's knowing your depth and understanding, what you got. That's awesome. Great. That was perfect. Thank you so much for that. All right. So let's go into more practice or organization stuff. Okay. What is your weekly practice schedule for your position group?
Okay, after we get into the season, August is over. We've run a lot more the last couple of years, and especially this year. And credit that to our assistant coaches coming up with the idea. Why don't we do more of O and D individual every day? So we're anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes of individual with the offensive line, and that's been a great addition to us. Where before strictly Tuesday'd be an O day, Wednesday'd be a D day with individual or indie. Now on Monday, the non-JV guys will do walkthrough stuff. We'll do recognition of fronts that we're going to see defensively, formations they're going to see, and we'll do that. It won't be super hard, but we'll do that more. and then maybe work a little bit more with what we're going to do as far as what the script's going to look like that week and anything new that might get installed on the offensive side or defensively that might get installed on the defensive side. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to run anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, probably average 15 through both days of individual. And I think fundamental stuff has to be done every day as much as you can, whether we're coming out of our stances, whether we're doing shoots. We have a little bit of a circuit that we do through the shoots. We work on coming off, right lead, left lead steps, trap pulls, pulling to the right, pulling to the left under the chute, working on keeping our pad level down, our eyes up, and those types of things. When we start going, stances are super important, getting off the ball. And I think that was one of the questions. I might have jumped into it a little bit early, but that's what we're going to do day one. We're going to start stances day one, our step off the ball, ripping the hand back, getting these young kids especially to think about coming out off the ball and not coming up. And I always try and tell our kids, put that hand back and grab a little grass. If we're picking that hand up, our chest is up. If we're ripping that hand back, our chest is out. And that's where we emphasize come out, not up with that. So we do that. And then in season, we'll try and get as much new scheme things done, how we're going to block a script against certain fronts and anything that's entered new and go over that. And then obviously all kinds of different types of drills. And I know that question's coming later, so I won't get on that quite yet.
Well, hey, I tell you what, man, the man with the mad tie is just, man, you're in it. You're going. I don't even have to say anything. You're just ready to rock. Woo. All right. So here's and again, we'll keep going. Coaches, again, you always see at the 8-man level, you see a lot of points, and the championship games and those semifinal games, it's very important to run the football. And I mean, it just really is. I mean, it's always one up front. So my next question to you, okay, during that time, and we all coach, we all have our practice affiliation, but we all have 7-on-7 at some point, okay, during that time. What do you do? What's your process and thought process during that time with 7-on-7 with your old lineman guys? What do you do during that time?
We'll keep them separately to drill. And obviously at 8-player, it's 5-on-5, but that's fine. It's the same concept.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
But we'll work on, are we going to slide protection that week? What pass set drills are we going to do? What are we going to look for stump pickup? And that's something I picked up years and years ago from Coach Williams. Coach Williams, we had that, even though I played in the backfield, we always had a stump pickup period throughout the week, early in the week, about what stunts we might see. Are we going to slide protection? We'll work on shuffle drills. We'll work on pass set drills. We'll work on double jam drills. And then sometimes if we want to get together with those guys so the quarterback has people to throw over or throw through or throw around, I like to do what's called I call it lover's lane. And what we do is we'll have the defensive down out there. We're still going to throw, but we'll point at one defensive player and that player's coming. Everybody has to set or slide the way we're going to go on the protection. And then that one guy's coming live and that guy needs to get him picked up and jam him, and he's going to go ahead and block with him and work during the pass play. And we like to do that early in the season because now everybody's forced to take a pass set, take the correct set that they're going to take, go off the snap. Some guys work a half line. There's nothing wrong with that either, a left half or a right half. But if we're able to do that lover lane concept or lover's lane, now we've got one down lineman or linebacker who's coming, and we not only set, but we set and have to pick that player up.
Okay. All right, good. It sounds like there's a lot of work. I mean, like I said, you're working during that 7-on-7 period of time. Excuse me. Okay, so now we're going to get the meat and potatoes, and you already kind of hit on that, and I took a note when you were starting to talk, okay? Because the next question is going to be about your teaching points and your key points, but you hit on stance right away, day one. Okay, can you elaborate for all of us as far as explain how you were talking about grab the grass and all the things. Can you go in depth and explain that?
Yeah, we try and get the kids in a balanced position, almost like a preset, the old school days where our forearms are on our knees, and then just put a hand down. We don't want to have too much weight forward. We don't have too much weight back, but we want to be able to drive off the ball. Bigger guys, taller guys, we can get into a staggered stance a little bit more, when we have those guys. I like a balance. I don't want them showing white knuckles, but I also don't want them sitting on their heels that we can really tell that it's going to be a pass play or that offensive lineman's pulling. And that's hard to do at the high school level. It just is. It takes a lot of practice and rep. And then we want to work on just 5 yards coming off the ball. Right step or lead, left, right lead step, left lead step, however that's going to go. Play side step, whatever you want to call it. All those concepts getting in and then ripping our hand back, firing off the ball and get off the ball out as much as we can and rep that and rep that and rep that before we're even worried about blocking a T shield or punching or elbows or thumbs up or heel the hand or whatever we're teaching.
Okay. What's your progression after that? What's your next week? Because like I said, I'm writing this down, so it's cool. I got the stance. Okay, so what's your next progression? Are you feet, hands, eyes? Where are you at?
Next feet, we call it the set drill, and that's an old Jim Williams drill from years ago, where we're gonna hands and take a 6-inch step and punch on the first set, and then we're gonna work on second step, backside foot to the crotch. I mean, that doesn't change. Head position, eyes up, neck bowed, and it'll be a super quick punch and step. We're not going to drive anybody off the ball quite that quick or that far or that hard yet, but we'll work on that first set. Hopefully, we don't sound like popcorn. We want to sound like one solid thud. Everybody hits the bag at the same time. And then second, on that second set, we're going to bring that backside foot through the crotch, get that head to the play side the best that we can, and then movement from there. And then we'll go to a little bit more, rotate through. Now we're going to push that bag, and we're going to take it maybe 3 to 5 yards as quick as we can get off the ball and step. And then we'll keep working that and a little bit further. And then as we progress with that drill, we do a drill. It's called the fit drill, and that comes later. And we're going to stay in that fit position and drive it, and then all point at the defender, right or left, and he's going to run towards the ball. So we've got, as my defender's running that way, I've got to get my head to the play side, work my feet, step on his toes, and keep working and not just hit and watch and release, but drive those feet so we stay on that block and we can finish. Because then the back's got to read us, and then he has to make that cut off our butt.
Correct. Okay. Well, good. All right. What other drills do you have in that case? Because, again, that you like, I should say, that helps progression in that first couple of days that you start camp.
I like the single one. Then we'll get in the position where we work double teams, and we'll get both linemen fit into the T shield, shoulder to shoulder, butt cheek to butt cheek, inside hand. All right, hand up or head up, and on the outside, we're not encircling with the backside hand because that's going to cause us to hold, but pressure and even pressure so that we're working that double team together and out and up. And then obviously, from that progression, we'll work to the next level, to the linebacker. Are we coming off and that? But that double team fit where we get in there before we ever come out of our stance, we're flat backs, eyes up, shoulder to shoulder, butt cheek to butt cheek on the inside. Feet are working together and stepping together.
Okay. All right. Later down, we're going to talk about whether you run zone or power or gap schemes or whatever you do. Okay. But let's take a step back for your younger kids that you have and that you've got to develop, because some of your players at the 8-man level, some of your teams have got to play young offensive linemen. They do. Okay. So how, as a coach, as a young guy, and I'm in a small town in the program and I got to depend on these freshmen, can I still progress the same way? How do you suggest that I teach my young group that's at 8-man level, that's young?
That's a really good question. I think you can still progress it the same way. Maybe some kids will progress a little bit different, but back in the day, Coach Williams always talked about progression and where you're going to go at and where you're going to go from it and what kind of how's that progression going to take you. I think you can. We've added a few new drills this year. PJ, we had Corey Helk from Kearney, Nebraska, come in, and he did a 2-day camp with our O-line this summer, and it was really good, really good. We worked on a one power position. We worked with one knee on a big block, and starting with a right-handed stance or left-handed stance, and coming off of that, stepping. Working that second foot, a 1-foot step landing, second foot, punching the bag when our second foot gets contact with the ground and moving our feet. So we picked up some drills from Corey that he did. He does a lot of medicine ball work with that, where we're out off of the big block and in a right or left-handed stance and try and go. We don't teach a right or left-handed stance. We do those drills when we get into the season too, and maybe do less of them. But I try and get my kids in a position they're comfortable with. You know, if we have a left-handed kid and he's more comfortable in a left-handed stance, we're going to do that. And right-handed stance, we're going to do that also. So that doesn't change things a lot. The big part is the steps, contact on second foot in the ground with the punch, and those things. So those new drills that Corey taught us last summer, we're using more.
Okay, good, good. You went right into my drill question. That's great. Appreciate that. Are you a zone scheme or a gap?
We do both. We zone scheme and we gap scheme because we like to run power as everybody does, even at the 8-player level. We'll run quarterback G, we'll run straight power G, we'll run out of the eye power G, we'll run one back G, you know,
Right.
and then we'll zone where we go to our jet sweep game or our straight sweep game to get to the outside. We'll run a lot
Right.
of zone scheme there and work the zone, and we try and keep it as simple as we can. I know a lot of the zone scheme guys probably don't agree with what we do, but they'll number, and they'll number, 1, 2, 3. Well, no matter how that scheme moves defensively, I've got the one guy, he's got the 2, backside's got the 3. We try and teach it real simple. We just use verbiage. If we are covered, all right, and to the play side that we're going, we're just going to make a zone base call. And I'm going to zone him. If it's inside zone, inside peck, outside zone or stretch, which we call it, we're on the outside peck. And we're running our feet. The guy next to me, he's uncovered. He's zone doubling with me. And then that double on the zone's the same concept. Who's scraping? If this guy's going B, somebody's got to have the A. Somebody has to have
Right.
the A. Don't
Correct.
hunt,
Yep.
guys. That's what we always tell. Get your eyes up. Be patient. Work vertical. And whether it's a double team on a gap scheme or if it's a zone and we're working it, we've got to stay on it till we get to the next level. And with high school kids, especially in a gap scheme with a double team, but somebody's got to pick up that backer. That's the biggest thing we struggle with. No matter how good our kids are, they're just thinking, punch, I got to get to the next level. No, you don't.
That's a nice.
Yeah. If you work it to the next level, that backer's going to be in trouble because he's going to have less room to scrape. And if we stay square on that, we can pick up with a hand. We can wash off. We'll give a you, me call. Who's picking up the scraper, and it works pretty simple for us. Sometimes we don't do it very well. That happens. And sometimes we do it better. And we've gone to a little bit more towards the season this year as we progressed. We probably did block a little more straight man than we.
All right, moving into our next question, okay, Coach?
Yes.
How do you coach undersized linemen at the 8-man level? I mean, we talk about this all the time. You may have a 150-pound kid, 175 guard, or what, but very rare do you have a 260 or 270. So you always have a range kid. How do you coach an undersized lineman?
Well, the last few years, PJ, we've been very fortunate to have big-sized kids. Last year, Keaton Helseth played for us. He was a 2-year starter. He was an all-stater. He was 5'8", about 180, maybe 185, and he was a really good technician. And those are things that we really try and work on with our smaller guys. And they also put them in positions that are, advantageous to us, where when they're working on a double or a double team or a guy in the gap, that they can get help with a bigger guy if they need it on a bigger guy. But try and make them really good at their technique, really good at their footwork, head position, head placement, head to the play side, all those things. First initial step on what we're doing, I think, is huge for anybody. If you're a 190-pound kid or if you're a 270-pound kid, we've got to get that head to the right position and head to the play side, and you're going to win a lot more battles than you're going to lose if you can do that. And if you can try and control hands on the defensive side and get that play side step before they get hands right on you, I think you're going to be at a huge advantage, even if you're undersized.
Right. Okay, so that's great because this moves right to my next question. Now, again, as a defensive coordinator, defensive-minded coach, especially at an 8-man level or any level, it's hard to hide your weaknesses at 8-man. And so if I'm a defense coordinator, I'm going against you, and you have that undersized guy, I'm going to try to stunt, twist, move my line to try to get versus you. So how many stunts and twists do you see at the 8-man level?
We see a fair percentage, but not a ton. But we do work on it, especially when we see it. You know, the old days when I was at Simpson playing Coach Williams, we did a stunt pickup session every week. We had at least one stump pickup session, and we do that too when we work on our pass protection or if we're working on anything as far as our run game, and we think we're going to see twists or an overfront or an underfront. We don't see a lot of stemming at the snap or stemming pre-snap. We do it quite a bit actually defensively. That gives us an advantage, and when those teams aren't giving us a lot of movement pre-snap, that helps us knowing what gap they're going to be in or what the responsibility is. But we still see some twists. We still see guys that are playing that end in a B gap or an inside crash, and then that overhang's playing there, and then they'll do a twist with him and mix things up. That's where we have to have our heads up and really talk and communicate about who we're picking up or how we're going to work the double team, or if we're going to go just with a straight man concept on it, what we're going to do. So, we try and work on that every week when we see it, and we'll see it, we'll see it more probably out of better defenses than we will out of defenses that we're going to see that aren't as good. And we spend an amount of time on it so that we're sure or hopefully know what's going on. And then when we get into our lover's lane period or whatever, with our 5-on-5 or passing or 7-on-7, then we're able to work those things and see what stunts we're gonna see on Friday night and how we're gonna pick them up.
Okay, good. That's good. Thank you. All right, so we normally on the podcast we do a goofy question, but again, you and I are always goofy. Every time we see each other, we meet. We're always. But this time, I wanted to. You have a great honor that you get to coach in the Shrine Bowl. So me and the coaches are gonna ask you again. Talk to us about the privilege and the honor you get to coach in the Shrine Bowl and how that experience has been for you.
It's been great so far. I've been able to put together a tremendous staff of assistant coaches from coaches all over the state in different classes and names that people know, of guys who are going to be on my staff. And Mike Tungy from Decorah, Jeff Bauer from Ankeny, Andy Brim from Webster City, Ryan Rezak from Esterville, Ryan Schwiesow from Westua Haywarden, who's got a title or two with him, and then Cajun Hardington from Hinton. So it's a great staff, and so privileged when Coach Winkler called me last spring and asked me if I'd be interested in coaching the North and being a head coach. I told him absolutely. It's been great so far. I've got a chance to go to a couple of the banquets and meet some kids that are going to play for us on the North, and we have the privilege of one of our offensive linemen, Carter Schwab, is on from us, and so it's been great. I was assistant in 09 when Jerry Schultz was the head coach, and that staff was pretty good too. Doug Winkowich was on that staff. So was Drew Clevenger. Drew Clevenger was on that staff. So great coaches that I've gotten to know over the years, and still kids that I know, and when I see them that played for us back in 09. So that's what it's all about, and this is all about the kids that they're doing it for, and the kids through the Shriners hospitals, and being able to raise that money for them, and a good story about every kid that you hear about, and the different types of things that go on, and all the work that gets done at the Shriner Hospital, and all the benefits that come. And last year, we were the #1 fundraising Shrine game in the United States. Iowa raised more money for their Shrine game than any other state. So that's something that they're really, really proud of. And Michael Hensing, who's in charge and is the head of the Shrine Bowl through the Shriners, they want to repeat that again this year if we can. So obviously we want to win as the North coaches, but we know we do it. We're doing it for the kids, and that's the main reason.
Right. And the purpose, the good cause, and just the impact you have on the kids and the coaches and yourself. That's amazing. So we appreciate that. And again, hopefully you enjoy that experience, and good luck to you on that. If I'm a young coach or a coach in general, how do I get a hold of you?
I'm on Twitter. They call it X now, but I'm just at Marty Wadle. My kids make fun of me of that being my handle. It just was pretty easy, so did that. A lot of people have my phone number, and I'll take a text or a phone call from anybody. And then my email is wadlem@bishopgarrigan.org. And I know some schools it's hard to get emails. Ours is pretty simple, and they can always call the school too. But a lot of people have my cell number, can get it from other people. They're more than welcome to. If I can help anybody in any way, hopefully that'll work out. It's been a privilege to be able to coach as long as I've been coaching, and and to be at one school in Bishop Garrigan for the years that I've been here. I'm very blessed, and there's a reason God kept me here, and there's a reason that I've been here, and there's a reason why I'm here, and trying to fulfill that the best I can every day that I'm in the building.
Well, hey, appreciate you and all you do. Thank you again for taking the time, the second time, to get this done. We love it and appreciate you for doing it, buddy.
Thank you, PJ. Appreciate it. And all the ones I've listened to so far, and all the podcasts with the other coaches, they've just been great. You're doing a great job of this, and a great service to the IFCA, and a great service to coaches in the state of Iowa. It's tremendous, and really enjoy listening to who you've been interviewing.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, coaches, like you said, again, we got the stamp of approval from the legend Marty Wadle. So again, continue to listen and support the IFCA and the IFCA Journal podcast. You can listen to us on YouTube TV, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Again, like we say on the podcast all the time, keep grinding.